Welcome to the Deep Dive. We take the source material you've shared with us, the articles, the reviews, the technical specs, and we cut through all the noise to get you to instant expertise.
And today we're looking at the 2025 Dongfeng Box EV.
Right, and the mission for this one is pretty clear. We have to somehow reconcile two completely opposite realities about this new electric hatchback.
It's a real paradox, isn't it? The sources you sent us describe it as a diamond in the rough, mostly because its real-world efficiency is just off the charts.
But then you have Euro NCAP, the safety agency, calling it a structural failure, after some really serious, very public safety flaws came to light.
And that's the trade-off we need to unpack for you. Is this car a fantastic value proposition with amazing economy, or is it a car with a fundamental lack of structural integrity?
How do you get one part of the equation so right and the other so wrong?
Well, let's get into it. The Box is Dongfeng's big push into the budget urban segment in Europe. It's aimed squarely at cars like the BYD Dolphin Surf. It's compact, just over 4 meters long.
So city car dimensions.
Exactly. On paper, the specs seem fine. It's got a 42.3 kilowatt battery, about 94 horsepower, top speed of 140 kilometers per hour. But the real story here is all about priorities.
Okay, so let's start with the immediate appeal then, the design.
Yeah.
Because when you first look at the Box, it just feels different. It feels like it's avoiding that visual arms race we're seeing right now with so many EVs.
It really is. While so many other cars are doing the visual bloat, the huge fake grills, Dongfeng went for something much more tasteful. It's got this smooth, retro-inspired look.
And the sources pointed out, this isn't just a style choice, right? There's an engineering reason for it.
Absolutely. It's about aerodynamics. You know, a battery just doesn't hold as much energy as a tank of gas. So every EV, especially a budget one, needs to be as slippery through the air as possible.
So that smooth, streamlined look is actually helping it maximize its range.
Precisely. It's a really smart way to get aerodynamic efficiency without paying for, expensive active aero parts. And it looks great with that floating C-pillar and the color contrast roof.
It does work visually. I mean, they've blended in some really modern touches too.
Yeah.
The front white bar, the way they use a trim piece to give the headlights a kind of pseudo-split look.
And those 17-inch alloy wheels, which actually look quite good on a car this size.
Yeah.
And that whole design philosophy carries over to the inside. They use that classic playbook, like the original Mini, where they push the wheels as far out to the corners as possible.
Which gives it a really long wheelbase for its size.
A very long wheelbase. We're talking 2,660 millimeters. And that's the trick, you see. It lets them create an interior that feels surprisingly airy, almost cavernous for a car this small.
And this is where that false promise of shine that the sources mentioned really starts to come in.
It is. They used all these bright, light-colored materials like this soft-touch white leatherette on the dashboard and the tops of the doors.
High touch point areas.
Exactly. It immediately makes you think you're in a much more expensive car. That first impression is so important in this segment.
Well, let's talk about the features then, because the list is kind of staggering for a car that starts around, 22,000 euros.
It really is. I mean, the premium version is loaded. You've got diamond stitch patterns, frameless doors, wireless phone charging.
A 540-degree panoramic camera system.
A full panoramic camera system. But the one that really gets me is the one-touch nap mode.
The nap mode. It sounds charming, but it also just screams marketing gimmick.
It does. It makes you wonder about their priorities, right? They're putting effort into developing nap mode software and even a ventilated driver's seat.
But not on other, more fundamental things.
And that's the core conflict. They are brilliant at the surface level stuff, the luxury touches, the tech. But let's look at the cost cutting. For every bit of soft leatherette, there's a hard, cheap plastic right below it.
The whole lower half of the cabin is just that hard-wearing plastic.
And the seats themselves, despite the whole nap mode thing, were called out for being really rigid.
Which kind of defeats the purpose.
It does. Then you get to the ergonomics. The steering column is fixed for reach. It only goes up and down.
Oh, that's a huge compromise. For comfort, for safety.
It is. And one source even pointed out that if you can't get the wheel in the right spot, the rim can actually block your view of the gear selector on the display.
So you literally can't see if you're in drive or reverse.
You can't. And the tech, for all its flashiness, is clinky. That big 12.8-inch screen is apparently quite laggy, low resolution.
And the connectivity sounded like a nightmare. You needed 2 separate Bluetooth connections.
2 connections, or you had to use a plug-in adapter just to get wireless CarPlay or Android Auto to work.
So classic budget move. Spend the money on the big screen, but not on the processor to run it properly.
It's the perfect example of the Box's whole deal. It promises this premium experience, but the budget engineering underneath just can't quite back it up.
Which I guess brings us to its one undeniable superpower.
It's efficiency, yes.
Because for all those quirks, all those compromises seem to have been made in service of this one. Incredible benefit. It is ridiculously efficient.
I mean, the numbers are just jaw-dropping. Real-world testing had this car getting between 9.7 and 10 kilometers per kilowatt hour.
To put that in context for you, one reviewer straight up called it the most efficient car they had ever tested.
Ever. That is a massive, massive achievement. We're talking about efficiency that rivals tiny little city cars that are built for nothing else.
And that's not just a small gain. That completely changes how you can use the car. It lets the box just sail past its official WLTP rating of 310 kilometers.
Oh, absolutely. The sources confirm that the real-world range on the bigger battery is more like 380 to 420 kilometers.
That's 100 extra kilometers of real-world range. In the budget EV market, that's revolutionary.
It's huge, and it means the running costs are, well, negligible. One test estimated you could travel 18 kilometers for every single dollar spent on charging.
This is where the value proposition becomes almost impossible to ignore.
Almost. But this is where we have to connect it back to the trade-offs. You know, how do you get that kind of efficiency? You have good aero, good battery management, but you also have to make it light.
You cut weight.
You cut weight, and when you aggressively cut weight and cost, you eventually cut into the structure.
And that takes us right to the elephant in the room. The safety score?
Yeah.
The box is charming, it's efficient, it's packed with features, but it hit a very big, very public wall in European crash testing.
It got a 3-star ANSI-CAPI and Euro NCAP rating. And that's a major red flag for any buyer. It points to a really fundamental failure in the engineering.
So walk us through it. What exactly failed in that Euro NCAP report? Where did the cost cutting show up under stress?
It's about structural instability. During the frontal offset crash test, which is like a 50% head-on collision, multiple spot welds failed.
Wait, spot welds?
Yes, on the A-pillar and the body itself.
For our listener, the A-pillar is that huge column that holds up your roof. It's what's supposed to stop the cabin from collapsing on you.
It's critical. And if the welds connecting the metal pieces fail, the whole chassis just loses its integrity. NCAP called the structure unstable and inconsistent. This is the danger of aggressive lightweighting.
That's just astonishing. I mean, sources noted that automated spot welding has been standard since the 70s. This isn't a new technology problem. This is a quality control problem.
And it gets worse. Occupant protection was also really bad. The driver's airbag went off with insufficient pressure.
So the dummy's head.
The dummy's head bottomed out right on the steering wheel rim, a huge risk for serious head injury. And they found structures under the dashboard that were a high injury risk for your legs.
And there were secondary failures too, which is just terrifying.
Yes. The automatic door locks failed to unlock after the crash.
Which could trap you in the car.
It could absolutely trap you. First responders count on that system working to get people out quickly. It's a failure that could cost lives. On top of that, poor protection for people on the far side in a side impact, just a total lack of modern safety systems.
It's almost funny, in a dark way. They perfected the software for a 540-degree camera and a nap mode.
But failed at welding, airbag pressure, and a door lock sensor.
And that contrast really highlights this quality divide we're seeing in the Chinese auto industry, doesn't it?
It does. The sources are really careful to point out that the box's failures are not representative of all Chinese cars. You know, the BYD Dolphin is a 5-star car. Chery's new SUVs are getting 5 stars.
So this isn't a Chinese manufacturing problem, it's a Dongfeng problem.
It really seems to be. It points to a difference between these newer private companies like BYD and the older, often state-owned enterprises, the SOEs, like Dongfeng.
Which are often criticized for being slower, less rigorous.
And maybe having an older manufacturing culture, the box's structural problems feel like a product of that.
Okay, so let's bring this all together for the listener. The final market reality. You've got this aggressive price under 22,000 euros in Europe, way cheaper than a BYD Dolphin in other markets.
It offers huge value on paper. The efficiency, the features, it blows away competitors like the Dacia Spring. But that value comes at a very clear, very documented cost to your safety.
So that low safety score, plus a limited dealer network in these new markets, really puts a ceiling on its appeal no matter how efficient it is. It's the perfect example of that false promise of shine.
Exactly. It's a car where the manufacturer clearly prioritized all the visible marketable things, the tech, the looks, the comfort, over the invisible, non-negotiable fundamentals of safety.
You are quite literally trading your running costs for structural integrity.
It's a stark trade-off.
It is. So we've covered the whole contradictory story of the Dongfeng Box, from its amazing efficiency to its failing weld. But before we close out, there's one final thought for you to consider. Euro NCAP report suggests Dongfeng is already working on a reinforced version for a potential retest in early 2026. So can these cost-driven shortcuts be fixed that quickly? And maybe more importantly, what does the initial failure of something as basic as a weld tell us about the broader quality control challenges facing this new wave of budget EV exporters?
Thank you for joining us on this deep exploration of the sources.
If you enjoyed unpacking this massive contradiction of efficiency versus structural integrity, make sure you follow our channel and subscribe for more deep dives tailored just for you. Until next time, keep digging and keep asking, what does this all mean?